Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. The Indian women's hockey team creates history at the Olympics. The team beats Australia, is now in the semi-finals for the first time. Both the men and women's hockey teams are now in the semi-finals at the Olympics. India's Chakte moment, the nation cheers. Discus thrower Kamalpreet Kaur comes 6th. It's India's best ever finish in the discus throw, but she misses a podium position. India's R number, that's the rate at which the infection spreads from one person to another, rises above 1. The R rate was above 1 during this deadly second wave as well. The hill states, Kerala, Northeast Karnataka are showing a rise. Meanwhile, Maharashtra announces key relaxations. Across India, schools are now beginning to reopen. In UP, 9-12 classes to begin on 16th of August. Delhi says that the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister says that majority of parents want schools to open, but we'll look at the impact of online schooling as children are falling behind. Erupee is a futuristic reform, says the Prime Minister as he launches this digital payment for government welfare schemes. The first BJP ally, Nitish Kumar, to ask for a probe into the Pegasus phone hacking scandal. The insurance liberalisation bill is passed in the Lok Sabha amid protests. Meanwhile, Rahul Gandhi calls opposition leaders for a breakfast meet on strategy tomorrow morning. No breakthrough in the latest round of India-China military talks. All the government says that there were candid exchange of views on the resolution on the disengagement process. Well, the lead story tonight is that absolutely fantastic win at the Tokyo Olympics by the Indian women's hockey team. They beat Australia and created history by making it to the semi-finals for the first time. So now both the Indian men and women's hockey teams are in the semi-finals. This is even more creditable given the fact that the Indian women's hockey team comes from across India and has really battled against all odds. In fact, the captain has talked of a time when her father couldn't even afford to buy her a hockey stick. It was really India's Chakte moment today, and cheers came from across India, from the Prime Minister to Shah Rukh Khan to many, many others.
Indian women's hockey team entered history books, stunning three-time Olympic gold medalist Australia to reach the semi-finals for the first time ever. The person behind India's Chakte moment, Gurjit Kaur, who converted India's lone penalty corner in the 22nd minute, raising her game when it mattered and fulfilling the dream of 1 billion Indians. One of the most stellar performances coming from Savita Punia. The goalkeeper led the Indian defence. She's being called the Great Wall of India. Punia saved 9 shots at the goal by Australians. The Prime Minister called it historic. Former men's team captain called it the biggest upset in history at this stage of the tournament, and a rather funny exchange between the real coach and the real coach. Sjoerd Mourinho, former Dutch player and current India coach, tweeting, "Sorry family, I coming again later," to which Shah Rukh Khan, who played the team coach in Chakde, India, saying, "No problem, just bring some gold on your way back for 1 billion family members."
हॉकी के हमारे दोनों ही टीम्स ने जो शानदार प्रदर्शन किया है उसके लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई, शुभकामनाएं.
Back home, celebrations, for it's a day like no other. Most of the players coming from humble backgrounds and fighting all odds to reach where no other Indian women's hockey team has gone before.
ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਦਾ ਮਾਹੌਲ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਵੀ ਗੁਰਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਜਿੱਤ ਗਈ.
ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਜੀ?
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਜੀ.
ਖੁਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਜੀ, ਇੰਨੇ ਪਛੜੇ ਇਲਾਕੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਬੱਸ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੋਟਰਸਾਈਕਲ ਤੇ ਮੀਂਹ 'ਚ ਹਨੇਰੀ 'ਚ ਧੀ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਖੇਡਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਭੇਜਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ.
Celebrations also at Captain Rani Rampal's house. The team's talismanic leader is a cart puller's daughter who began playing with a broken hockey stick as her family couldn't afford a new one. She told Humans of Bombay, an online platform, that her father used to earn 80 rupees a day.
अपना भी नाम रोशन किया और सारी इंडिया की नाम रोशन किया उसने, तो सबकी बेटियां ऐसे करें.
They are the giant killers who march on, undaunted, to take on Argentina in the semis on Wednesday. A win there will not only take them to the summit clash, but also ensure India an Olympic medal in women's hockey, something that's never happened before. An NDTV Bureau Report.
That's semi-finals on Wednesday, and India will be cheering especially hard will be Odisha's Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, because interestingly, Odisha state sponsors both the men and women's Indian hockey teams. Here's what Naveen Patnaik said.
Congratulations, India. What a terrific game our women's hockey team played against Australia. Keep it up. The best of luck.
Punjab's Gurjit Kaur finished 6th in the women's discus throw final with the best ever attempt of 63.70. She had started well in the women's discus throw final as she threw 61.62 in her first attempt, but then had a foul in the second before rain halted play. She then threw 63.7 in the third to avoid getting knocked out after the first 3 throws. She had another foul in her fourth throw and then managed 61.37 in her fifth, but this is India's best ever performance in the women's discus throw final. Well, another one of India's Olympic stars, PV Sindhu, who's won the bronze medal in badminton, spoke to NDTV's Rika Roy.
I'll have to ask you, first thing first, what was your reaction after the final point? Was it a moment of relief? Was it a moment of exhilaration? What was the moment like?
Well, I had no words. I was just blank, and after like a couple of seconds, I actually shouted because I finally, I was like, yes, I did it. And of course, I thanked my coach. I went and hugged him because it is a dream come true for anyone to get a medal, at the Olympics. And well, we've finally done it together, and I'm very, very happy. And I was very happy.
Sindhu, we'll talk about the game a little more, but I am distracted by your fancy nail paint. Will you talk us through that? Is it an Olympic special?
Yeah, it is. I just thought, why not? Since I'm going for Olympics, I just thought, okay, let's get it done because, I was very excited. Finally Olympics is happening. And I was like, yes, the Olympic fever is on. So,
that's a part
why
of your...
not get it?
Because it's the first time that I'm seeing you do something like that. It's a girly question, but I couldn't help but ask you that.
Well, I mean, I really like to, do my nails and stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, I am like a girly where, like I do stuff where, I do my nails or, something like that. I really like it. So,
Sindhu, coming back to the sport itself, how difficult was it to prepare for this game to, play against Hebin Zhao after the match against Taizu? It wasn't even 24 hours. You didn't get a long enough recovery time.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of emotions in this because, I don't know, I should have been happy because, I got another chance. I had to be sad because I lost the match. So there were a lot of emotions put in together, but I think it was very important for me to be focused for the next one. I mean, it was really tough because, I almost had tears. My coach had tears and my physio. So, but still, they were motivating me and supporting me and telling it's okay, there's always, another chance and you can do it. So that's how they motivated me. And, my coach said, there is a lot of difference between a bronze and the 4th place. So I think that really hit me and, a medal is a medal for the country and for yourself. And it's definitely a proud moment. So, yeah, I think that was in my mind and I just thought, yes, I need to give my best. Of course, I mean, there was pressure. There was, a lot of emotions also, but I just kept them aside and I just thought, yes, I need to do it, and I've done it.
Indian women making us proud at the Olympic Games. But moving now to the latest COVID data. Well, remember it's Monday, so Sunday's testing usually less. So we are at over 40,000 cases, 4% lower than the day before. The deaths in the last 24 hours, also 422, the deaths down as well. The testing is down. Usually that happens on Sundays. The vaccinations, however, that's today, Monday as of 8 o'clock, was 57 lakhs. Over 57 lakhs, that's good. That's up by 235% on a low Sunday base. The daily positivity rate is 2.81%. But here's really the worrying number. This is India's R number. That's how fast infection spreads from one person to another. Now that's risen to 1.01. The R factor, which is a key number to watch out for, and the fact that it's crossed 1.01 is worrying, because this indicates the speed at which it's spreading in the country and in different states. Remember, the last time it was over 1 was during the deadly second wave. And another worrying number is the states just seeing a weekly rise in cases in percentage terms, not in absolute numbers. Now, Kerala has seen the highest weekly rise. Most others, except for Karnataka, are very low, barely 100. But the fact that states in the northeast, hill states, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand, and big states like Karnataka and also Delhi are rising is a worrying trend.
Chennai's ever-busy Ranganathan Street now deserted. 9 such crowded market areas in the city and several across Tamil Nadu are under lockdown as the state recorded a marginal rise over the weekend. Large temples like this one at Mylapore have closed doors to devotees. Daily cases had come down to 2,000 after a peak of 36,000 in May.
மீண்டும் ஊரடங்கு சூழலுக்கு அரசாங்கத்தை நிர்பந்திச்சிடாதீங்கன்னு கொஞ்சம் கடுமையாகவே சொல்லிக்கொள்ள விரும்புகிறேன். மூன்றாவது அலையை மட்டுமல்ல, எந்த அலை வந்தாலும் அதனை எதிர்கொள்ளும் வல்லமை தமிழ்நாடு அரசுக்கு இருக்கு.
With Kerala witnessing a spike, from Thursday Tamil Nadu will permit travellers from the neighbouring state only if they show negative RT-PCR results or if they've taken their second dose at least 2 weeks before the date. The Kerala-Karnataka border too saw a lineup of vehicles. With Kerala recording nearly 50% of the country's cases over the last week, a 6-member central team today concluded its tour of 10 hotspot districts. India has recorded a 7% increase in weekly COVID cases, the first increase in 11 weeks. The number of states with a weekly increase in cases has also jumped from 5 to 12 amid fears of a third wave. Bureau Report, NDTV.
And the Maharashtra government has just announced the easing of some curbs where the cases are low in Maharashtra. However, 11 districts will remain under restrictions because of the high caseload. What are the major relaxations? Well, apart from these 14 districts, which includes the Mumbai city and suburbs as well as Thane, that's going to be decided by local authorities. Shops, malls will remain open till 8 o'clock on weekdays, 3 o'clock on Saturdays. Public gardens and playgrounds will open for jogging, exercising, cycling. And government and private offices will operate at full capacity with staggered timings. Also, gyms, salons, beauty parlors can operate without air conditioners at 50% capacity. However, cinemas, multiplexes and religious places like temples will remain closed. The other big priority now for states across India is reopening schools. So today, this Monday, many states actually reopened classes for at least senior schools, that's 9 to 12. However, across other parts, there's still some worry about whether schools should reopen or not. Andhra Pradesh and many other schools, Uttar Pradesh will open for senior classes from the 16th of August, Bihar, Goa as well. But Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia today said he'd asked parents for response, and they've got many responses, a majority of whom are saying open schools.
मैंने सजेशंस मांगे थे लोगों से और करीब 30-35 हज़ार सजेशंस आए हैं, तो मैं सबको बहुत केयरफुली पढ़वा रहा हूँ कि उसमें क्या क्या सजेशन लोगों ने दिए हैं. बहुत जल्द आपके सामने रखेंगे कि क्या लोग कह रहे हैं और उसके बेस पे कुछ डिसीजन होगा. ट्रेंड अभी तो मैं सारा देखिए, मैंने जो देखा, मैंने खुद भी मेल पढ़ रहा था, मैं तो ऐसा लग रहा था बहुत लोग चाह रहे हैं.
Let's move to our special focus now. That's on the impact the digital divide and the children left behind. What has it meant for rural areas, especially in states like Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, where children don't have access to devices by which they can access online classes? Uttar Pradesh has now announced that classes will open for senior grades from the 16th of August, but for junior students, they are being left behind. Alok Pandey has a special report.
With UP schools shut for a major part of the last 16 months because of COVID, many school children, especially those who attend elementary classes at government-run schools in villages, may be lapsing into illiteracy. ये जो 16 महीने से स्कूल बंद है उसकी वजह से बच्चों की पढ़ाई पे क्या असर पड़ा है? ये है पढ़ो कुछ भी
चमन रहा है।
अच्छा चलो अगला पन्ना पलटो। ये गांधी जी पे आओ, ये पढ़ दो। ये पढ़ो। 12-year-old Amit Kumar, the son of laborers, one of 8 children, was promoted from class 5 to class 6 recently at this UP government-run primary school in the Akbarpur Khurd village of eastern UP's Bahraich district, but can hardly read Hindi sentences from his class 5 textbook or even attempt elementary mathematics. 9 का लिख के दिखाओ। क्या 2 का पहाड़ा आता है?
लिखना पढ़ना सीखे थे जो इस वक्त ये छुट्टी में से भूल गए हैं। हाँ, लिखना पढ़ना तो याद था इनको कुछ। अच्छा। पढ़ रहे थे, फॉरवर्ड हो गए थे, स्कूल जाते थे रोज। ये लड़का कभी हर्जा नहीं करता था। अच्छा। हाँ, टहल रहे हैं इधर उधर।
At the primary school just next to Amit's hut, Nisha Bharti and Diksha Gupta, assistant teachers who are in school every day but cannot teach because of COVID restrictions, say the UP government has alternate learning tools in place like e-pathshalas via WhatsApp, YouTube classes and even tutorials aired on Doordarshan. But there is no impact in poor, impoverished villages like this one. Families of just 6 of the 53 enrolled students here have smartphones and just one household has TV.
सबसे बड़ी चुनौती तो ये है कि यहाँ पे बच्चों के पास फोन बहुत कम है। फोन है भी तो उनके फोन में रिचार्ज नहीं होता क्योंकि उनके पास इतने पैसे नहीं है। क्लास 1 का बच्चा अगर छोटा लिखने लगे तो ये बहुत बड़ी बात हो जाती है। अब वो बच्चे को हम लोग ऑनलाइन कंटेंट भेज रहे हैं।
5 kilometers away, in the Kaharan Purva Badoli village, a similar story. 12-year-old Seema Kumari, promoted from class 5 to 6, cannot read from a class 4 Hindi textbook. ये पढ़ दो।
काया काया कंके
ये आने वाले दौर में इसका बहुत ही भयावह स्थिति हो जाएगी। ये इन बच्चों का फ्यूचर खराब हो जाएगा। जब ये पढ़ाई नहीं कर पाएंगे, इनकी बुनियाद ही कमजोर रहेगी, आगे ABCD नहीं इनको मालूम है, छोटा बड़ा नहीं मालूम है, पढ़ा नहीं मालूम है, तो आगे ये बच्चे क्या तरक्की करेंगे।
450 kilometers away, at this village in eastern UP's remote Sonbhadra district, the story is no different. For 8-year-old Ankur Gaur, a class 5 government school student, and his sister Lakshmi in class 3. Their parents, marginal farmers who cannot afford smartphones or a TV.
यहाँ के पेरेंट्स के पास एंड्रॉयड मोबाइल अवेलेबल नहीं है। 2-4 के पास है तो नेट पैक नहीं रहता है। हम गांव में भी गए और ये बात भी जो है हमने जो है उनसे कहा कि कम से कम टीवी के माध्यम से देखें। आजकल ई पाठशाला का जो है आयोजन हो रहा है, लेकिन यहाँ लाइट की समस्या रहती है, लाइट नहीं रहती है।
A massive 1.8 crore school children study at 1.5 lakh UP government-run schools between classes 1 to 8. The government has announced a partial reopening of schools for senior classes after August 15. But it's not clear when primary and middle schools will open. Once these schools open up, everyone will keep their fingers crossed that both students and teachers can get an extended run inside these classrooms so that the glaring gaps in education in the last 2 years can be filled somewhat. With Prabhat Kumar, Salim Siddiqui and camera person Vineet Verma, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
NDTV travelled across districts to bring you that impact on a future generation, because if you don't open primary schools, how will children learn the basics? 16 months of education there completely lost. We'll continue focus on that, but a quick look at other news. There's been no breakthrough in military talks on Ladakh between India and China. The India-China Corps commanders met for their 12th round of talks. The government said after that there was a candid exchange of views on the resolution of remaining areas of disengagement, but that this round of talks was constructive. However, nothing has actually changed in the dispute between India and China. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today launched Erupee. This is the government's digital payment solution meant to ensure delivery of welfare services. They're like vouchers, and the focus for now is actually also on vaccination efforts and sponsoring free vaccinations.
इस महत्वपूर्ण पर्सन के साथ साथ पर्पज स्पेसिफिक भी है। जिस मकसद से कोई मदद या कोई बेनिफिट दिया जा रहा है वो उसी के लिए प्रयोग होगा। 300 से ज्यादा योजनाओं का लाभ डीबीटी के माध्यम से, डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट ट्रांसफर के माध्यम से लोगों तक पहुंचा रही है।
Well, in other news, a major BJP ally, Nitish Kumar, the Janata Dal United Bihar Chief Minister, has said that there should be a probe into the Pegasus phone hacking scandal. He's the first BJP ally to actually say this. This as Congress leader Rahul Gandhi has called for a breakfast meet of opposition parties tomorrow to discuss their Pegasus strategy. Meanwhile, the government is continuing to pass bills. Today, the key insurance bill, which liberalizes investment into insurance, was passed in Lok Sabha amid opposition protests.
जनजातीय और जनजातीय क्षेत्रों के लिए अरे बैठ जाइए ना विथ ऑल माइट स्वीकृत हुआ विधेयक पारित हुआ।
The third straight week of opposition protest in Parliament, the government quick to point out that 133 crore of the taxpayers' money and over 90 hours of legislative business time has been wasted. The opposition adamant that they want a discussion on Pegasus by the Prime Minister and Home Minister, no less. With the deadlock on, opposition parties have decided to up the ante. Former Congress President Rahul Gandhi will be hosting a breakfast meeting for opposition leaders on Tuesday to decide on the future course of action. One proposal includes conducting a mock parliament at the Constitution Club, barely a few meters away from the parliament.
जितने भी फ्लोर लीडर्स हैं और उनके साथियां हैं जी, उन सभी को यहाँ पर ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग करते हैं जी, तो वो वही वहाँ पर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन क्लब में नाश्ता पे बुलाया गया।
But a setback for the government coming in from a position taken by crucial ally, the JDU. Nitish Kumar now saying there should be a probe in Pegasus.
बिल्कुल होना चाहिए। टेलीफोन टैपिंग की बात इतने दिनों से आ रही है, इस पर जरूर बात हो जानी चाहिए, चर्चा हो जानी चाहिए। इसमें तो पहला ही दिन पूछे।
For Mr. Kumar's party, this seems to be a part of a series of contrary positions, from advocating that population control does not require a law to hinting that the JDU may go alone in the UP elections. Back in New Delhi, the government wants to move ahead with legislative business. Amid the protests by the opposition parties, the General Insurance Business Amendment Bill, which seeks to remove the mandatory 51% stake cap of government in public insurance companies, was passed by voice vote.
I am strongly, vehemently, stridently opposing this anti-people, anti-national legislation.
The bill sets a deadline and increases payout limit for bank customers, proposing a new deadline of payout within 90 days covering a total of 98.3% of all deposit accounts with 50.9% in value.
विपक्ष के नेता आदिर रंजन चौधरी जी ने इतना इमोशनली जो बात कहा वो टोटली बेबुनियाद है। सरकार किसी का हक नहीं छीन रही है। खिलाफ बोलने के लिए अगर खड़े होना है तो शांति से बैठे, विवाद चर्चा करे, प्रश्न पूछे।
With the opposition adamant on a Pegasus probe and discussion, and the government now adopting a legislation railroad strategy, is this now going to be the new parliament strategy, a complete and total breakdown? Bureau Report, NDTV.